Now this video is for all you parents out there who just love your children and want to make sure that they're in the right school district as you're in the process for shopping for a home. You get asked the question, how do I find the perfect school district when I am shopping for a home? I want to make sure my kids are, in the best situation that they could possibly be in. Today, we're going to cover that in this video, so stick around until the end, and I hope that you enjoy this. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned and get ready for great value-driven content. Now, there are a lot of things to take into consideration when you're shopping for a home and when you're wanting to make sure that you pick the right school district. Location is generally at the top of that list, but there are some other things that you're going to want to consider. For starters, let's go with number one. Take a good look at student to teacher ratios and the standardized test scores. This is some of the most revealing information you're going to find about how schools are actually performing. Low teacher to student ratios means that teachers have a reasonable workload and that they're available to actually help the students, giving them individualized, or should I say more individualized instruction than they would get in a school that has far more students than they do teachers. Also, you're going to want to take a look at those standardized test scores. Check to see if the students are scoring above average or average. Just see where they are, because a lot of times the information that you will glean from those test scores will give you an indicator as to how well those students are being educated there in the school. Number two, look at the graduation rates and also see how many of those students are college bound, especially if they're in high school. Now, these statistics can be helpful, but they don't always tell the whole story. A more useful piece of information is actually knowing the percentage of graduates that still require what's called remedial work when they are continuing their education. Now, I actually worked with someone in my marketing career, and this is at a Fortune 500 company, where the young lady was very bright, going to college, got her 4-year degree in marketing. But she told me an interesting story one time, and she said that, when she got to college, she felt like she was so far behind all the other students because her school district didn't prepare her as well as she would have liked. So she had to go back and maybe relearn some things that she should have learned in high school while she was in college, and she had to work twice as hard just to catch up. So when I start talking about your remedial work that's required, that's exactly what I'm referring to. Make sure that your kids are in a situation that when they get into college, they are not having to go back and relearn things that maybe they should have learned in the school district. Also, number three, take a look at the age and the condition of the facilities. Now, buildings that are actually overcrowded and are deteriorating can be very distracting. They can be uncomfortable, and they can provide less room for learning that than what's ideal. And basically, you don't want your kids to be in that type of environment. You want them to be in a place where it's most likely for them to learn. No distractions, no hindrances, no discomfort, nothing like that. So that information is very helpful as well. And basically, when you're taking a look at schools, as a taxpayer, if you're in a state where you're paying local taxes, you want to know that where your tax money goes is invested properly and it's producing good fruit for the kids that are going to the schools. Also, number four, take a look at fiscal responsibility. Now, a financially sound school district is more likely to continue to meet, higher education standards further into the future because they consistently have the resources to do so. Now, this is especially important for you if you have children that are very young and, you plan on staying where you are maybe until they graduate. So definitely keep that in mind. Some other things to consider Let's go to number 5. Ask the question, does the school district meet my children's needs? And if you have a student or a child that is special needs or gifted, you'll probably have to do a little bit more investigation just to make sure that what they need is actually available in the school. Some school districts, they often transport students to neighboring larger districts if those services are not available. So you want to make sure you know as much about that in advance as possible. Now, if your student has a special interest, like music or sports, make sure you do your research as well regarding those things. Some schools do perform better than others when it comes to those special categories that your children may have an interest in. So if you're shopping for a home, definitely keep that in mind as well. You can also, take a look at things like parent involvement, right? And how other parents feel about the school district. Social proof is huge. A lot of times when we're making decisions, we do somewhat rely on the experience or the shared experience that others maybe have given. If people around us or people that we trust, know, or like have had certain experiences, we tend to rely on those in terms of credibility. And so you can basically see, based on what other parents have said about a school, whether or not it's valid or it's a place that you may be interested in putting your kid at. So take a look at that as well. First-hand information about the schools is priceless. So if you can talk to any parent-teacher associations, or just maybe other parents who have kids that go there, to get a better understanding of what you're getting into, it's always favorable for you to do that ahead of time. And last but not least, let's talk about one more category. This category is the category of transportation, and this is something that affects your family every day. So it's definitely worth looking into ahead of time. Not all school systems will provide transportation, and some may not provide it to every school within the district. So transportation can be a big issue, depending on where you work, depending on what your family situation is, if you have one car or not. So just make sure you're thorough, make sure you do your research, and if you keep these things in mind as you're going through the home buying process, you can come out a winner. And I hope that this video has been helpful. If it has been, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. Be on the lookout for more videos coming from life and real estate. Give this video a thumbs up, comment. It helps to push it out to more people. Listen, I appreciate you guys taking time to listen, and have a blessed and wonderful day. Take care.